You see here, uh, as you all know, we, that is consumers, are willing to buy more and more. Okay, so we are willing to buy more and more, that is quantity demanded increases. When it increases when the prices are more and more less. As the prices come down, the quantity demanded by consumer increases. But does it mean that the supplier is also ready or willing to sell you at whatever price you ask, at whatever price the consumers demand, or whatever price the consumers buy? No. Even the seller has got some sort of limitations. That is, so he'll be willing to sell or supply more and more, okay, when the prices are higher. It means the seller will be willing to sell more and more as the prices increase. I think you know the reason, the obvious reason behind this. That is, so the higher is the price, the more will be the returns or profits to the seller. So they are willing to sell more at a higher price. So at whatever market price, right, the seller is willing to sell at a particular price and the buyer is willing to buy at a particular price. At whatever price they just coincide, that point is called as market equilibrium, and that price can be called as a market price. So it means, so seller is at a good profit. At the same time, the consumer is also willing to pay that price for that product at that particular time. That is market price. Okay. Then what is supply? It's nothing but the willingness of the producer or the seller to sell at a particular point of time during a specific period. Okay, so tomorrow again, the next day, the sellers willing to sell may again change. So remember, always at a specific period of time you need to remember. Then, as we know, the law of demand, what it says, there is an inverse relationship. Lesser the price, higher, more is the consumer willing to buy, or higher is the demand. But the law of supply is opposite to this. You can see here. Okay, higher is the price, more is the seller willing to sell. Supply increases as the price increases. That is the law of supply, and falls when the prices fall. That's it. Okay,
Sir,
exactly
but
opposite.
demand decreases, no?
Yeah, demand decreases.
Then who will show interest to buy the product?
See, uh, you are able to see here. See, for example, okay, let us just explain this. 5, 10, just to 15, 20, 25, 40, 45 rupees, 50, let us assume. Okay, so let us consider each unit as 5. This is a price: 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45, and 50. Okay, now see, what did I say? From consumers point of view, when the supplier is selling, okay, let us assume these as quantities, number of units to be sold. Okay, let them be 1 to 50 or 100, whatever it is. Now when the price is 45 rupees, okay, how much quantity are the consumers willing to buy?
Low quantity.
Very less, maybe 2 or 3 units. Okay, right. Now same thing, when the price is so high, what is the supplier willing to sell? The supplier is willing to sell many products. It means maybe here, let us assume, say 50 or 60. So this is common. Am I right? It means the supplier is willing to sell at a higher price. So if you are willing to buy a product at 45 rupees, immediately the supplier will sell you 60 or 70 number of products ready to sell to you. Okay, but what is happening here? But the customers are only, the demand is only 3 units. right? So what happens? The seller now is not able to sell so many products. So what he will do? Slowly the market price may reduce, or when the price comes down to 40 or 35, it means as long as the price is acceptable both for the consumer and the seller, that point, yes, both are ready to, the seller is willing to sell and the buyer is willing to buy at this point. So it doesn't mean that if the price increases, the supply will increase. Yes, of course, but at the same time, you don't say that, you can't say that as the price increases, demand will come down. But at some point of time, I don't mean to say that prices will abruptly increase. No, see, you see here, as the prices are
Okay, that means
increasing,
selling and the requirement will be saturated at a point.
yes, at this point, where the seller is willing to sell and the buyer is willing to buy at this point. Okay, so if there are very less suppliers and there is very shortage of product, okay, then in such situations, even the demand may be more and more buyers may come to buy the product. The quantity demanded may be more. When the quantity demanded is increasing, the seller may just assume that, okay, the demand is more, let me sell the product at this price. So he may increase the product, but not to get confused, just try to understand supply from its individual point of view. Higher the price, see, you just think you are a businessman, you're willing to sell at a higher price, right? But if I'm the consumer, I'm willing to buy at a more lesser price. But it doesn't mean that we don't do any transactions, no. It doesn't mean that you don't sell and I don't buy. No, definitely both buyers and sellers come to an understanding, or whatever price both are willing to buy and sell. Buyer is willing to buy and the seller is willing to sell. So whatever negotiations do happen or whatever it is between those forces, between these market forces, a price will be set. That is called as market equilibrium. So at this point, yes, the supplier is willing to sell. How many? He is willing to sell only these many number of quantities. The buyer is also willing to buy at this price. Yes, but only this will be the demand. Okay. If the seller is willing to buy at a higher, sell at a higher price, and even the buyer also willing to buy, then this will be the quantity sold. But you can see here in this image, the market equilibrium is at this quantity. Maybe price between 10 25. Okay, let us assume 25.
5386.
Who is that 5386? Okay, so this will be the equilibrium position where both are willing to do a transaction. So for now, try to think only from seller's point of view. He will be willing to sell when the prices are high and willing to sell less when the prices fall. So simply to say, see now, uh, sometimes agricultural products like tomatoes, okay, and some goods, the prices fall off abruptly. Okay, for example, suddenly tomatoes price comes to 2 rupees or 1 rupee. Sometimes. So are the sellers really willing to travel so far and sell their products at this low price? Is it really fetching them some good, at least some margin of safety?
No.
Or do they exist in a break even at least? No. So though buyers are willing to buy at this lesser price, the seller is so reluctant and he will not sell his goods. Okay, but this situation happens very rare. Okay, but at the price where buyers are willing to buy and sellers are willing to sell. That is why there is a concept called as support price. Support price for the farmers. How many of you know this? I don't know, right? So even the central government, FCI, Food Corporation of India, okay, it will purchase these agricultural products from the farmers, okay, at a support price. Okay, usually this should be done, but sometimes due to some reason they don't buy this. Not all the products, very few products will not be bought. So support price is nothing but at least there exists some break even in their production. Okay, so that is the concept of law of supply. Then, as we know that there are determinants for under this law of demand, we have seen a number of determinants. Law of supply has got only just few determinants of law of supply. Okay, and this is a function. So supply will be the function of these inputs, these factors. So what are those factors which determine the supply? Price of the product, input prices, technology, and expectations. So we'll look at each of them. Price, as I said here, the law of supply is directly related to price. So price is definitely one of the factors that will influence the amount of goods supplied, right? Definitely, as the prices are higher and higher, the seller will assume that there are more profits, and then he is willing to sell more and more. So price increases, the quantity supplied increases. Price decreases, the quantity supplied decreases. Okay. Then input prices. So I think you all remember what are inputs. What are the four factors of production? Four M's: man, machine, material, and money. Okay, so these all are factors of production. So input prices. So when the input prices or the factors of production, raw material cost and other inputs, if they're so high, so how do you think this is going to affect the concept of supply? If the prices of inputs are very high, so the seller, he will assume definitely that my cost of production is definitely going to rise high. Then if the cost of production is high, he may not get at least a substantial profits. He may not get reasonable profits. Then you can say if the input prices maybe like raw material price or any price of the other inputs, if it is so high, then the quantity supplied will be less, at least for some time. Okay, or at least if they're able to adjust the price of the market price. Okay, if they're able to adjust the market price, then they will supply. But remember, on an average, if the input prices are high, so simply to say, if the cost of production of some products, of agricultural products, is very high in certain period of time, then they don't produce. If they don't produce, they don't supply. Okay, so inverse relationship. Prices are very high, so it is costing them a lot. When it costs a lot, they're not willing to supply. Quantity supplied will be less. Okay, so you see now, like a few products where the cost is the cost of production is very high. Okay, there will be a very limited supply. Okay, some certain vegetables where they need to take a lot of preventive measures to produce. Okay, simply to say the cost of production is very high, then the quantity supplied also will be very less. Then contrary to this, if the input prices are very low and the quantity supplied will be very high. Okay, so general vegetables where we did not take much care. Okay, cost of production is very less, then more and more number of sellers enter into that market. More and more producers do sell because the input prices are very less. Then quantity supplied can be very high. Okay, that is a general assumption according to the law of supply.
Sir,
Then,
what is the
yes,
four M's? One is man, money, material,
and machine, material, and money.
okay.
What is that? Raw material, okay, labor, capital, machinery. You can even speak in this way. So they just make us to memorize They call it as 4 M's. Anyway, you can remember factors for production: land, labor, capital, machinery, or these 4 M's. Anyway, you can remember. Then let me know how better you can define technology. Let us see how we can understand this concept. Can anyone tell me what is technology actually? Or whenever you listen to the word technology, right? We try to define it in a much bigger way.
We can say that machinery comes under technology, means like without involving manpower, there will be a ready-made machines which makes the work easier.
Our work easier. Okay. Any more? Who is this talking?
Sir, this is Rashmi.
Rashmit. Only Rashmit is talking. Acha. Others, if you can just try to define technology. Yes, Rashmit, what you said is correct. Okay. This is general notion what we think when we listen to the word technology. Okay. Some kind of machinery which will help our work to get easier. Any
Technology is
more?
something that takes input and gives us output in most efficient way.
In most efficient way. Okay. Fine. Yes. Okay. So even in this definition, you both were trying to focus on some kind of machinery, okay, which will try to reduce our inputs and try to produce maximum outputs. Am I right?
Sir, we can say that input money is also decreased because we
Yeah.
are not involving the much more manpower, so there is no work to give more wages to them.
Yes. Very good. Very good. You all are. Yes. This is what we all think. Okay. Whenever the word technology comes, we think in this similar fashion, right? But listen, I'll give a simple example, and you people will just you will even question, is it technology? You'll just laugh at me. Okay, just listen. Early man discovered the wheel. Is it technology or not? Early man discovered wheel. And is it okay? Before analyzing this definition, this wheel, is it invention or discovery? Already question them
Discover.
again. I hope you
Invention.
know the invention or discovery.
Discover.
It is discovery. Okay. So he did not invent that circular shape. In nature already that circular shape exists, right? So if we have found something which already exists, that is called as discovery, right? Then, so early man discovered wheel, right? Is it technology or not? So we'll try to change the way we perceive technology in our mind, okay, from today. So now none is answering means you don't agree with me, right? You don't agree with me to say that this discovery of wheel is a technology. You don't want to agree with me, but listen, it is
Yes, sir,
technology.
it's a technology.
Yes, it is a technology. Now can you try to define technology?
So that
Now
reduces human effort.
human
Which
effort,
makes
yes,
easy.
which makes our work easier. Okay, that's it. That is technology. Any idea which reduces human efforts or makes our work easier is called technology. Okay, so from today you listen to the word technology. Don't straight away go to machines. Start from early man, how he discovered the wheel. That is technology. It means anything, any idea which will make your work easier. It can be called as a technology. Remember. Okay. Then yes. So technology as one of the determinants of supply. So we did not try to discuss much on this, which is very simple. The better or more advanced is the technology, operated by a firm, okay, lesser will be the costs. Lesser will be the costs, and thereby higher will be the quantity supply. Okay, so today I will again, we have already discussed technology. We try to understand the difference between discovery and invention, which you already know, I believe. Now, because here a word has come. If there is that word, I don't know whether it is there or not, but someone used this word in our discussion already. Okay, right. Yes, we find it here. Efficient. Can anyone say the difference between efficiency and effectiveness? So, as you're studying a management subject, we should know these terms. Okay, effectiveness and efficiency.
Sir, efficiency is the output from the product that we usually get. Effectiveness is that output is how much it is impacting is the effectiveness.
How good the product is, effectiveness, right? How
Yes.
better how better the product is, effectiveness, and how much we took output from inputs is efficiency. You mean to say that way, right? Is it so?
Yes, sir. A kind of actually.
Yes.
Efficiency
Yeah.
simply it's an output, and the effectiveness is the how much it is changing, how it is reaching to our expectations, and it is helping our work.
Yes,
That
yes,
is
you're
effective.
correct. You're correct. You're correct. So efficiency is not just output. It is output, related output, but not completely output. Okay. Listen. If you say that I'm an efficient person, I'm an efficient employee in the business, it means you're doing much work with less resources. Okay. So that person is said to be efficient. Now, if you say yourself as efficient, I say I'm an effective person. I'm an employee with much effectiveness. It means the degree to which, so I'll not confuse with this definition. I'll simply say effectiveness means how good I am. I'm with what kind of perfectness I am, or simply to say some percentage of achievement. So effectiveness means, for example, simply to say the degree of achievement. The degree of achievement is effectiveness. It means we can say in terms of percentage. Okay, so he is 85 percentage effective. It means so that particular product is 85 percentage perfect. That is effect, the degree of achievement, okay, or the degree of perfectness in a particular product is called as effectiveness. But efficiency, inputs, how many inputs are you using to get your outputs? Okay, so you are called as an efficient person if you use minimum inputs or minimum resources and get maximum outputs. Such kind of production, such kind of activity is said to be efficient. Okay, so a production method may be efficient. They are using minimum inputs and giving maximum outputs. But what about the quality? Okay, what about its purpose? What about the purpose of that particular product? Okay, you buy a mobile phone so that your purpose of calling, receiving calls, and browsing internet is fulfilled. So no matter the manufacturer was so efficient, but if the quality and purpose is not served, the purpose is not served, and the quality is not fulfilled, then effectiveness is missing. I hope now you got the difference between efficiency and effectiveness. Okay, so here, whenever you listen to the word efficiency, always try to correlate inputs and outputs. So someone who is using minimum inputs and giving maximum outputs is said to be efficient. And efficiency does not guarantee effectiveness, remember. So someone who should become successful in their business should be both efficient and as well as effectiveness at the same time. Okay, so that is efficiency and effectiveness. So now, as I said, so with the help of technology, okay, so for some time if you keep this effectiveness part aside, okay, let us discuss about efficiency only, because technology, okay, so technology, because of more and more upgraded technology, so what is happening, it's becoming more and more efficient. Firms are able to produce more output with the same amount of inputs at least than before. So before, you used to take 15 units of leather to produce 30 units of shoe manually, let us assume. Now with new technology, you are using the same 15 units of leather and able to produce 40 units of shoe. That means there is definitely some sort of efficiency. So with technology, efficiency increases. So when efficiency increases with technology, the quantity supplied, yes, the seller willing to supply or willing to sell will also increase. Why? Because his costs will come down. As his costs are coming down, he can enjoy higher returns, so he is willing to sell more. So higher or more efficient, higher is the technology, more and more improvements, more advancements in technology, more will be the quantity supplied. So the very best example in here is do we call it as green revolution? Food. So before green revolution, the quantity of food supplied was very limited. In fact, there were a number of starvations. Okay, people used to die out of lack of food. But because of green revolution, what is green revolution? It is also a technology. Okay, some idea, some got an idea that let us try to create a hybrid variety of food, hybrid variety of seed, so that we will be able to increase our production. Even this idea is also a technology. With such technology, the production increased, and so the suppliers are willing to supply more, and thereby food is enough now distributed because of the green revolution, which is also an example of technology. Okay, so simply to say, higher or more advances are there in technology, more higher will be the quantity supplied, and lesser is the technology improvement, lesser will be the quantity supplied, because the cost of production may rise higher. Okay, so that's about technology as one of the factors of production. Next, expectations. So expectations, you just try to restrict it only to an individual seller, an individual firm in general. Okay, so if you're expecting that, if a seller is expecting that maybe in the coming future the prices of my raw material are going to come down, or see, sometimes what they do, sellers, they stock their goods illegally. They put it for some time. Why they do it? Because now the prices may be low. Maybe in future, in the next coming 1 month or 2 months, the prices can still be higher. Then we can sell more number of goods. What they do? They store their goods illegally sometimes. Okay, beyond certain limits, it is said to be illegal. Okay, so all such expectations. If a seller is expecting that the prices will increase in future, he will restrict his supply. He will restrict his supply. Okay, sorry, not this one, this first one. He will restrict his supply. And if he's expecting that the prices of such certain goods are going to come down in future, he is willing to sell more and more right now. Okay, so anything like future determinants, like future prices. So depending on the future prices, they take their decisions. Future input costs. Okay, so in future the raw material price may still go higher. So what they do now, They'll buy right now and sell and produce more and keep and start supplying right now itself. And even future technology. Whatever expectations the sellers have about the future, so based on those expectations, the quantity supplied will be determined. Okay, the analysis of effects of expectations must be undertaken on a case by case. Case by case means depending upon the individual firm's research ability. So whatever research you do with your employees, or what is the nature of your business. Okay, so certain seasonal products. Okay, so seasonal products, they have raw materials seasonally available. So based on this, based on such expectations, supply will be changed. Okay, so that is expectations. From one firm to firm, it differs. Then number of sellers. It is a very easy concept to understand. More number of sellers are there in the market, more will be the quantity supplied. And the lesser the number of sellers, lesser will be the quantity supplied. It is a very simple concept. Of course, I didn't mention this in the determinants of supply here. We have only 4: prices, input prices, technology, and expectations. Okay. This the next one was number of sellers as a determinant of market supply, one of the factors. Okay, so that's it. We are done for today's theoretical class, right? So the next week we'll start demand forecasting. Before that, we'll solve few more numerical problems. I think this we have done in the last class. Now, there are 3 questions here. Try to solve one by one. So first question, you need not solve. Try to predict the answer for the first question without solving. It is some general thinking question. Just by looking at the question, you'll be able to say the answer.
They are complements.
Compliments, sir.
So be able to explain your answer, not just
As
answers.
we have got the negative value for the cross elastic demand, and for we will get negative value for the complements. Why? Because
The curve will be downward slope or upward slope?
Downward slope.
Downward slope, and there is a negative relationship. Okay.
Negative.
So that's why
Yes, sir.
they are said to be complements. Very good. Not just looking at butter and milk. We know that butter and milk are complementary, but not just looking at these examples. You even try to correlate with this. Yes, right. Very good. So as there is a negative, the value is negative. It surely says that there is a negative relationship. And in related goods, complementary goods have a negative relationship, that is a downward slope. Okay, fine. The next question. Now this you have to solve. Try to solve it. Just think it to be rupees here. This is something like a reverse process. Okay, so already elasticity of demand is given here. So based on this, we are supposed to calculate something over here. Try to get
300
what is 300? Chocolates or biscuits?
tickets, sir.
Very good, very good. Okay, see, your answer will be incomplete if you do not mention units. Okay, so please don't mind. So this is how I be very interactive with students. Okay, don't mind. So your answer will be incomplete if you do not mention units beside that. Okay, so 300 tickets. Just say 300 units. Right? So if it is rupees, if it is some amount, just say rupees, or else 300 units or 300 tickets. Okay, good. The answer is 300 is correct. The others try to solve it soon. Just take 2 minutes time and solve it. Meanwhile, you can do the third one. If you already have are done with second, others can go with third. This is a bit tricky question. What happened? The answer for the second question came quickly, very quickly, 300. Then what about the next question?
Inelastic.
It is inelastic, okay, but
Elastic.
there are you say elastic.
No, sir, we'll get 0.375.
Very
sir.
good. The value is 0.375. Okay, the answer is correct. Now try to answer this question. What is it? Expected number of tickets sold if there? No, not this one. Sorry. Calculate the price elasticity of demand.
Revenue increases.
Revenue
increases.
Increases, sir.
Yes, revenue increases. And what kind of elasticity it is?
Inelastic.
You get 0.
Relatively inelastic.
Yes, you got 0.375 means it is less than 1. So less than 1 means relatively inelastic. It means there was certain increase, but not proportionately, less than 1. So, but when you look at the figures, it reduced from 1200 to 900. But you can see here, price is also increased. So when you calculate and look at the dynamics, it is clearly understood that though the price was increased from rupees 3 to rupees 5, and even though the number of cars reduced, the traffic reduced from 1200 to 900 cars per day, still the revenue was increased. Okay, so though the elasticity was less, relatively inelastic, there the profit increased. Okay, just have a look at this. So I hope the second one is already solved by all of them. That is 300 units Q2. Okay, now for this third question, just look at the answer. So when you solve, you got it 0.375, relatively inelastic, but total revenue became, okay, when it was 3 rupees, and though the number of cars was higher, it is 3,600 rupees. But later, the price was increased, and even though the number of cars which were parked was reduced, still the revenue increased. Okay, revenue rises even when the price elasticity of demand become less than 1. Okay, that is
Sir,
going
in
to the
normal Sir, in normal sense, if
Okay.
we go on increase like this prices and such that there will be the decline of our product usage, no?
Yes, definitely,
So
definitely.
at
If the
one point
price,
of time, then it's really supporting to break up the company.
yes, yes. So they don't increase the prices continuously. Okay. So you see now, only the one who is enjoying monopoly power will try to set price as however he wants, as whatever he wants. Okay. It is only possible with monopoly power to set your own price in the market. But you see here, he increased from rupees 3 to rupees 5. Okay. When the price was increased to this point, the revenue is increased. Assuming this, you can't just think that let me increase it further more and more. Similarly, my revenue may increase. No, this is for this elasticity. Okay, if you are increasing more and more price, then usually definitely this number of cars or number of consumers buying your product or a service will abruptly fall down. When it falls down, this revenue, which was higher at some point of time, it will slowly come down. Maybe this place has a good, it is at a very good place, at a very good available place, so that they're willing to park their vehicles even when the price was increased a bit. Okay, yes, as you said, as the price increases, if you are trying to increase your price more and more, definitely at some point of time, your demand for your products will come down and you will have to shut down your business. Okay, even monopoly, the extreme situation, what I told here, even a monopoly firm, what they do is, you know,
Sir,
to,
sorry to interrupt.
yes,
What is monopoly, sir?
see, poly means seller, mono means single seller. For
Okay.
example,
Yes.
within your locality, within your maybe in a village or a town, okay, there is only one store who is selling some food item, right? Then this guy, or maybe because he's selling, he's the only seller, or maybe because he's the only one having that unique quality product, he will set a price of his own. So because of quality, or because he's the only seller of that particular food item, particular unit of goods, customers will have to definitely buy because there is no other seller to sell it. Even a monopoly's business person, even a monopoly business firm, what they do, though they set a higher price initially, slowly to retain the customers, slowly to show the taste of their product to more and more number of customers, they will reduce their prices a bit in the long run. Not, of course, in the long run, monopoly is not retained, but to sustain in the business, even a monopoly firm will slowly reduce its prices in the long run. That I mean to say here. Okay.
Okay, sir.
So that is three numerical problems. Okay. A few more tricky questions. We'll end this with two more. Yeah, I think two or three more. Okay. We'll finish it quickly. Do this now. Calculate Kevin's income elasticity of demand. See, it's the same thing as price elasticity of demand. In the place of price, you'll put income. Not just calculation of elasticity is enough here. There is one more question. Is good a normal or an inferior good?
Sir, 0.7.
0.7. So listen, as it is income elasticity of demand, did you get any negative value over there?
Cost.
Yes, sir, we'll get a negative.
Negative
Yes, sir, we will get.
If you get a negative value when you're calculating income elasticity of demand, so please include that negative value also in your answer. Did you understand the reason why? Because in case of price elasticity of demand, the relationship is inverse. Price increases, demand decreases. Relationship negative, it is negative here. So definitely you'll get minus value when you're calculating price elasticity of demand. As there is a negative relationship, you get negative value, but you ignore this. In case of price elasticity, you ignore the negative sign. But in case of in case of income elasticity, remember, income increases, demand also increases. Okay, there is a positive relationship. So whenever you are calculating problems related to income elasticity or demand, if you get a negative value, definitely include that negative value in your answer. It is not 0.7, it is minus
Minus.
0.7. Done. If it is minus 0.7, then if it is minus 0.7, what is that good? Is it what kind of elasticity it is? Minus ochindi ante, what is the elasticity? Is it a zero elasticity, zero income elasticity, or negative income elasticity, unit income, or greater than one, less than one?
Less than
Negative
1.
income.
Less,
So we call it
less
as
than
negative,
0.
less than zero. Okay, income elasticity less than
Less
zero.
than 0.
Now is it is good a inferior or a normal good? See, I have explained this concept also. If my income increases and if I'm consuming maize regularly, initially I would buy 20 kgs of maize. But as my income increased, what I do now, I will buy less of maize and compensate this with some other superior quality, some other superior good, so that my satisfaction will be maximized. So when you get negative income elasticity, your good will be inferior good, remember. Okay, since income elasticity is negative, it means inferior goods, as your income increases, your purchase is not remaining constant. You are buying, in fact, less. So this is a general assumption here. Okay, so as the income elasticity of demand is negative, good A is assumed here as an inferior good. Okay, so definitely include negative saying before. If you are solving a problem related to income elasticity of demand, if you get a negative value, please retain it. Don't remove it. Okay. Just two more questions. Do it quickly. I think this is the last one. Yes, do it. This is a bit bigger question, but it's very simple. $4,000 small cars. This is the price, and 400 sports at this price of each one. Then last year, right? Now sports model increased to 500. It was 400. It now increased to 500. Sales of small cars decreased to 3,850. Declined to, not by. Okay, declined to means it was 4,000 before. Now it became 3,850. Okay. Now, what is income elasticity of demand for the two models? What does this tell you about the models? So here you can consider this as income. No, not that as income. Okay, so just look at the solution here. First, you forget about the cars. So what is this 10%? You can see here the income of the consumers rose on average by 10%. Okay, so first we'll calculate income elasticity of demand. Okay, about this sports. When you calculate this sports car, okay, how much you get elasticity? You get an elasticity of 2.5. Sorry, old sports cars. Then for old cars, minus 0.37. So what can you see here? For the sports cars, the elasticity is more than 1, and here it is less than 1. So small model is an inferior good with an inelastic income. With an inelastic income. So did you try to calculate this? Okay, anyhow time is up. I'll again explain this. Okay, I'll explain this on Monday again. One more problem is left. These two I'll explain on Monday. I'll stop the session. I'll end the session here. I hope you all have posted attendance, at least in the beginning. I'll end.
Okay, sir.
Yeah, okay. We'll see you again on Monday. No problem. Okay.